Have you ever wondered why two people can sleep the same number of hours, yet one wakes refreshed while the other feels exhausted and ages faster? The answer isn't just about how long you sleep, it's about when you sleep. And if you're over 60, this timing might be one of the most powerful health decisions you make every single day. What I'm about to share challenges everything most people believe about sleep. We've been told that 8 hours is the magic number, that as long as you get your hours in, it doesn't matter when. But your body operates on an ancient internal clock that has governed human health for thousands of years, long before electric lights and late-night television existed. This clock doesn't care about your schedule or preferences. It runs specific biological programs at specific times. And when you sleep determines whether those programs can run properly or get disrupted. For people over 60, this timing becomes absolutely critical because your body's margin for error has narrowed considerably. Tonight, while you sleep, your body will attempt to perform extraordinary acts of healing and maintenance. Your heart will try to repair damaged blood vessels. Your brain will try to flush out toxic waste proteins. Your immune system will try to strengthen its defenses. Your hormones will try to rebalance themselves. But here's the crucial part. These processes don't happen randomly throughout the night. They happen during very specific hours, and if you're not asleep during those hours, these vital functions get shortchanged or skipped entirely. Over weeks, months, and years, this creates a deficit that manifests as disease, cognitive decline, and accelerated aging. Let me tell you about Margaret, 73, who came to understand this the hard way. Margaret considered herself reasonably healthy. She didn't smoke, watched her diet, took her medications, but she had a habit of staying up until midnight or later, watching television or reading. She figured as long as she slept until 8 in the morning, she was getting her 8 hours. But Margaret started noticing troubling changes. Her blood pressure, previously well controlled, began creeping up despite medication. She felt increasingly foggy during the day, forgetting names and losing her train of thought mid-sentence. She caught every cold that went around and took weeks to recover. Her doctor ran tests but found nothing definitive, just gradual decline across multiple systems. It wasn't until a sleep specialist asked about her bedtime that the pieces started connecting. Margaret's late sleep schedule was systematically undermining her health in ways that no medication could fix. The first biological system profoundly affected by sleep timing is your cardiovascular system. And this one can literally be life or death. Your heart and blood vessels undergo their deepest, most essential repair work between 10 at night and 2 in the morning. During these hours, your blood pressure naturally drops by 10 to 20% in what's called nocturnal dipping. This dip isn't just rest for your heart, it's active repair time. Your blood vessels relax, inflammation markers decrease, damaged vessel linings get patched, and arterial plaque gets stabilized. But this only happens if you're in deep sleep during these hours. If you're still awake at 11 or midnight, your blood pressure stays elevated, your vessels remain constricted, and the repair work gets postponed. The problem is, it can't really be postponed. Your body can't just reschedule cardiac maintenance for later in the morning. The hormonal and nervous system conditions that enable this repair exist only during those specific nighttime hours. Miss the window, and the work simply doesn't get done. Research tracking thousands of adults over 60 found something startling. Those who regularly fell asleep after midnight had a 37% higher risk of developing serious cardiovascular disease compared to those who fell asleep before 11, even when both groups slept the same total hours. Think about that. Same sleep duration, dramatically different health outcomes based solely on timing. The late sleepers showed higher rates of hypertension, irregular heartbeats, and arterial stiffness. Their hearts were aging faster because they were missing their nightly repair appointments. Thomas, 68, learned this after his second heart attack. His cardiologist asked detailed questions about his lifestyle and was surprised to learn Thomas regularly stayed up past midnight despite having heart disease. The doctor explained that Thomas was essentially forcing his damaged heart to work overtime when it most needed rest and repair. Thomas started going to bed by 10:30. Within weeks, his blood pressure readings improved. Within months, he felt noticeably stronger. His heart was finally getting the repair time it desperately needed. What can you do about this? First, recognize that if you have any cardiovascular issues, high blood pressure, previous heart attack, stroke history, irregular heartbeat, then sleep timing isn't optional. It's therapeutic. Aim to be asleep, not just in bed, but actually asleep, by 10:30 or 11 at the latest. Second, create conditions for this to happen. Start dimming lights in your home after 8 in the evening to help trigger natural melatonin release. Third, finish eating at least 3 hours before bed because active digestion interferes with the parasympathetic nervous system shift needed for cardiac repair. Fourth, if you take blood pressure medication, ask your doctor about timing. Some people benefit from taking it in the evening to support nocturnal dipping. And fifth, track your sleep timing for 2 weeks, along with morning blood pressure readings if you have a home monitor. You might see clear patterns showing better readings after earlier sleep. The second biological system that depends critically on sleep timing is your brain, and what happens here affects everything from your memory to your risk of dementia. Your brain performs a remarkable cleaning process every night called glymphatic clearance. Think of it as your brain taking out the trash. But this trash includes toxic proteins like beta-amyloid and tau that are directly linked to Alzheimer's disease and cognitive decline. This cleaning process is most active between 10 at night and 1 in the morning. And it happens primarily during deep sleep. Your brain cells actually shrink slightly during this time, creating space for cerebrospinal fluid to flow through and wash away accumulated waste. It's an incredibly sophisticated system, but it requires 2 things. If you're going to bed at midnight or later, you're cutting into the most productive hours of this cleaning cycle. Studies using brain imaging have shown something concerning. People who consistently sleep late show significantly more accumulation of these toxic proteins compared to early sleepers, even when total sleep time is the same. It's like having a cleaning crew that can only work certain hours. If you're not home during those hours, your house doesn't get clean, no matter how many total hours pass. For people over 60, this becomes especially critical because your glymphatic system is already less efficient than it was when you were younger. You're producing these toxic proteins at the same rate, but your ability to clear them has declined. This means you need every advantage you can get. And timing your sleep to maximize this natural cleaning process is one of the most powerful things you can do. Eleanor, 76, noticed her memory was slipping. She kept misplacing things, forgetting appointments, struggling to recall words. Her daughter worried it might be early dementia. But when Eleanor mentioned to her doctor that she rarely got to bed before midnight, often closer to 1 in the morning, the doctor suggested an experiment. For 6 weeks, Eleanor committed to being in bed by 10 and asleep by 10:30. She reduced evening screen time, installed dimmer lights, and created a consistent routine. The change was remarkable. Her mental clarity improved noticeably. She stopped misplacing things as often. Conversations became easier. Her brain was finally getting the cleaning time it needed. There's also the concept that each hour of sleep before midnight is worth 2 hours after midnight for brain health. This isn't just folklore. It reflects the fact that the deepest, most restorative sleep stages happen in the first half of the night, and your brain's cleaning system is most active during those stages. Sleeping from midnight to 8 gives you 8 hours of sleep, but sleeping from 10 to 6 gives you more actual brain repair despite being fewer total hours. So, what should you do? First, if you're experiencing any cognitive changes, memory problems, brain fog, word-finding difficulties, make sleep timing a priority immediately. Second, create a wind-down routine, starting at least an hour before your target bedtime. This might include reading physical books, gentle stretching, or quiet conversation, anything that signals to your brain that sleep is approaching. Third, keep your bedroom cool, around 65 to 68 degrees, which supports the deeper sleep stages where brain cleaning happens. Fourth, if you wake frequently during the night, address this aggressively because interrupted sleep disrupts the cleaning process. Talk to your doctor about potential causes like sleep apnea, medication side effects, or bladder issues. And fifth, consider keeping a simple log for a month. Note your bedtime and rate your mental clarity the next day on a scale of 1 to 10. You'll likely see clear patterns showing better clarity after earlier sleep. The third biological system profoundly affected by sleep timing is your hormonal system. And this impacts everything from your weight to your stress levels to how you age. The master hormone for sleep is melatonin, but its role goes far beyond just making you drowsy. Melatonin initiates a complex cascade of hormonal events that regulate your entire metabolism. Melatonin production naturally begins between 9 and 10 at night when environmental light decreases. It peaks between 11 and 2 in the morning, then gradually declines toward morning. But here's what most people don't realize. This melatonin surge triggers the release and regulation of dozens of other hormones. Growth hormone, which repairs tissues and maintains muscle mass, releases primarily between 11 and 1 in the morning, but only if you're in deep sleep during those hours. Cortisol, your stress hormone, is supposed to hit its lowest point around midnight, giving your body a break from its stimulating effects. Insulin sensitivity, your ability to process blood sugar properly, resets during these early sleep hours. When you stay up past 11 or midnight, you disrupt this entire hormonal orchestra. Melatonin production gets suppressed by artificial light, especially blue light from screens. This delays or reduces the entire downstream cascade. Growth hormone release gets impaired, meaning your body can't repair tissues as effectively. Cortisol stays elevated when it should be dropping, keeping you in a subtle stress state that affects everything from blood pressure to blood sugar. Insulin resistance worsens, making it harder to maintain healthy weight and putting you at risk for diabetes. For people over 60, this matters enormously because your natural hormone production is already declining. Your body makes less melatonin, less growth hormone, and has more difficulty regulating cortisol than it did at 30 or 40. You can't afford to further compromise these systems by sleeping at the wrong times. James, 71, struggled with his weight despite eating carefully and exercising regularly. He also felt perpetually stressed and tired. His doctor checked his hormones and found low growth hormone, elevated nighttime cortisol, and poor insulin sensitivity. When asked about sleep, James admitted he routinely stayed up until midnight or later. His doctor explained that his late bedtime was creating a hormonal environment that made weight management nearly impossible. James committed to a 10:30 bedtime. Within 2 months, he started losing weight without changing his diet. His energy improved. He felt calmer. His body's hormonal rhythm had been restored simply by sleeping at the right time. The mechanism here is straightforward but powerful. Your endocrine system evolved over millions of years to function in a world without artificial light. It expects darkness to trigger melatonin release, which triggers everything else. When you override this with late-night light exposure, you're essentially telling your body it's still daytime, and your hormones respond accordingly. They don't shift into nighttime repair and restoration mode. They stay in daytime activity mode, and this creates metabolic chaos. What should you do? First, treat the hours between 9 and 11 at night as sacred transition time. Dim your lights progressively during this period. If you must use screens, use blue light filters or special glasses that block blue wavelengths. Second, keep your bedroom completely dark during sleep, not just dim, but actually dark. Even small amounts of light can suppress melatonin production. Use blackout curtains or an eye mask if needed. Third, get bright light exposure in the morning, preferably natural sunlight. This helps set your circadian rhythm and ensures proper melatonin release 12 to 14 hours later. Fourth, avoid caffeine after noon and alcohol in the evening. Both interfere with normal sleep architecture and hormone release. And fifth, if you're dealing with metabolic issues, weight gain, diabetes, high blood pressure, ask your doctor to check your nighttime cortisol and morning growth hormone levels. These tests can reveal whether your sleep timing is creating hormonal problems. The fourth biological system that depends on early sleep timing is your immune system. And this determines how well you fight infections and even how your body responds to vaccines. Your immune system doesn't work at constant intensity throughout the day. It has its own circadian rhythm, and its most powerful activity happens during the night, specifically between 10 at night and 2 in the morning. During these hours, your body produces cytokines, proteins that coordinate your immune response to infections and help control inflammation. It also produces and distributes white blood cells, increases antibody production, and strengthens immune memory. This is when your immune system does its heavy lifting, patrolling for threats, destroying damaged cells, and building defenses. But this enhanced immune function only happens during sleep, and it happens most powerfully during the early hours of sleep before midnight. If you're staying up late, your immune system can't fully activate these processes. It's like having a security system that's supposed to run nightly checks, but you keep it disarmed during its scheduled patrol time. Research on older adults shows that those who sleep before 11 have significantly stronger immune responses. They produce more antibodies after vaccinations. They fight off infections more effectively. They have lower levels of chronic inflammation, which is linked to nearly every age-related disease. Conversely, late sleepers show weakened immune responses, higher inflammation markers, and more frequent infections that last longer. Linda, 69, seemed to catch every virus going around. Colds lasted weeks. Minor infections became major problems. She was constantly on antibiotics. Her immune system appeared weak despite no underlying immune disorder. Her doctor asked about her sleep habits and learned Linda rarely went to bed before midnight. The doctor explained that Linda was systematically undermining her immune system every night by sleeping too late. Linda adjusted her schedule to be asleep by 10:30. Over the following 6 months, she noticed a dramatic change. She stopped catching every illness. When she did get sick, she recovered much faster. Her immune system was finally getting the nightly activation time it needed. There's also fascinating research on vaccine responses in older adults. Studies found that people who got adequate sleep in the early night, hours before receiving vaccinations, produced 2 to 3 times more antibodies than those who were sleep-deprived or sleeping at irregular times. This has enormous implications. It means that something as simple as sleeping at the right time can make the difference between a vaccine being highly protective or only marginally effective. Your immune system also regulates inflammation during these early sleep hours. Chronic low-grade inflammation is now recognized as a driver of heart disease, diabetes, Alzheimer's, arthritis, and cancer. Sleep is one of your body's primary anti-inflammatory mechanisms, but only if timed correctly. Late sleep keeps inflammation elevated, essentially creating an internal environment where disease can flourish. What should you do? First, if you have recurrent infections, slow healing, autoimmune conditions, or chronic inflammatory issues, prioritize early sleep as aggressively as you would any medication. Second, plan vaccine appointments for late morning or early afternoon, then ensure you get excellent sleep starting the night before and continuing for several nights after. Your immune response to the vaccine depends heavily on sleep during this window. Third, if you're fighting an infection, go to bed even earlier than usual, ideally by 9 or 9:30. Your immune system needs maximum activation time. Fourth, reduce sleep disruptors like alcohol, which suppresses immune function even in small amounts. And fifth, recognize that chronic sleep deprivation or mistimed sleep creates immunosenescence, premature aging of your immune system. This can be partially reversed by consistently sleeping at the right times. The fifth biological system affected by sleep timing is your digestive system, including your liver, stomach, and intestines. These organs have their own circadian clocks, and they're programmed to do very different jobs at different times of day. During daylight hours, they focus on digestion and nutrient absorption. During nighttime hours, especially between 10 at night and 1 in the morning, they focus on detoxification, repair, and regeneration. Your liver is particularly sensitive to timing. It's your body's primary detoxification organ, processing everything from environmental toxins to metabolic waste products. But this intensive detoxification work happens primarily during early sleep hours. Your liver needs you to be asleep, not eating, and not producing new metabolic demands, so it can focus entirely on cleaning and repair. When you eat late at night, or stay up past your liver's scheduled maintenance window, you force it to keep working on digestion instead of detoxification. Over time, this creates a backlog. Toxins accumulate, the liver becomes fatty and inflamed. You wake up feeling unrefreshed with bad breath, a coated tongue, or mild nausea, all signs that your liver didn't complete its overnight work. Your stomach and intestines follow similar patterns. They're supposed to be relatively quiet and still during the night, doing repair work on their linings and allowing beneficial bacteria to flourish. Late eating, especially heavy or rich foods, forces them to stay active when they should be resting. This contributes to acid reflux, indigestion, poor nutrient absorption, and disrupted gut bacteria balance. Robert, 74, suffered from chronic indigestion, bloating, and fatigue. He tried various diets and medications with limited success. His gastroenterologist asked about his eating and sleeping schedule. Robert admitted he often ate dinner late, around 8 or 9, and stayed up until midnight watching television, sometimes snacking before bed. The doctor explained that Robert's digestive system never got its rest and repair time. He was essentially forcing his organs to work around the clock. Robert made 2 changes. He moved dinner to 6 in the evening and committed to being asleep by 10:30. The improvement was dramatic. His indigestion resolved. The bloating disappeared. His energy increased. His body's digestive organs were finally getting their scheduled maintenance time. The research on this is compelling. Studies show that people who eat late and sleep late have higher rates of gastroesophageal reflux, irritable bowel syndrome, and fatty liver disease. They also show disrupted patterns of beneficial gut bacteria, which affects everything from immunity to mood to nutrient absorption. Simply shifting eating and sleeping earlier improves all of these outcomes without any dietary changes to what you eat. Only when you eat and when you sleep. There's also the morning aspect. When you sleep early and wake naturally in the morning, your digestive system is primed and ready for breakfast. Hunger hormones are properly regulated. Digestive enzymes are released on schedule. But when you sleep late, even if you sleep enough hours, your digestive rhythm is off all day. You might not feel hungry at appropriate times. You might crave sugary or fatty foods because your hunger hormones are confused. What should you do? First, establish a rule. No food within 3 hours of bedtime. If you go to bed at 10:30, finish eating by 7:30 at the latest. This gives your digestive system time to complete its work and transition into repair mode. Second, if you have digestive issues, chronic indigestion, reflux, bloating, or liver problems, coordinate your sleep timing with your meal timing. Early dinner and early sleep become therapeutic interventions. Third, drink adequate water during the day, but reduce fluid intake in the last 2 hours before bed to minimize nighttime bathroom trips that disrupt sleep. Fourth, if you take digestive medications or supplements, ask your doctor or pharmacist about optimal timing. Some work better taken in the evening to support overnight liver function. And fifth, pay attention to how you feel in the morning. If you wake with bad breath, a coated tongue, or mild nausea, these are signs your liver and digestive system aren't getting adequate overnight maintenance time. The sixth biological system profoundly affected by sleep timing is your emotional and mental well-being. And for older adults, this might be the most immediately noticeable effect. Your brain's emotional regulation centers, particularly structures like the amygdala and prefrontal cortex, are heavily influenced by sleep timing and quality. When you sleep at the right times, these systems can properly process emotions, consolidate positive memories, and maintain emotional equilibrium. When you sleep late or poorly, emotional regulation deteriorates rapidly. Cortisol, your primary stress hormone, follows a specific daily pattern. It should be highest in the morning to help you wake up and feel alert, then gradually decline throughout the day, reaching its lowest point around midnight. This natural decline is essential for emotional calmness and the ability to transition from the active, alert state of daytime to the relaxed, restorative state of nighttime. But when you stay up past 11 or midnight, cortisol doesn't drop properly. It stays elevated, keeping your nervous system in a mild fight or flight state. You might feel wired, anxious, or irritable without knowing why. Your mind races, small worries become overwhelming. This isn't psychological weakness. It's biological disruption of your natural stress hormone rhythm. Conversely, early sleep allows cortisol to drop on schedule while boosting production of serotonin and dopamine, neurotransmitters that regulate mood, motivation, and sense of well-being. Early sleep also supports proper processing of emotional memories, helping you maintain perspective and resilience. Dorothy, 77, had become increasingly anxious and irritable. She snapped at family members over minor issues. She worried constantly about things she'd normally take in stride. She felt emotionally fragile in a way that wasn't like her. Her doctor checked for depression and anxiety disorders, but found nothing definitive. When asked about sleep, Dorothy revealed she habitually stayed up until midnight or later, often lying in bed, worrying. Her doctor explained that her late sleep was keeping her cortisol elevated and preventing proper emotional regulation. Dorothy committed to a 10 o'clock bedtime with a relaxing routine beforehand, warm bath, gentle music, no screens. Within 3 weeks, her family noticed she seemed calmer, more like her old self. Dorothy herself felt the difference. The constant anxiety had lifted. She had more patience and felt emotionally stable again. Her brain was finally getting the sleep timing support it needed for emotional regulation. The mechanism here involves multiple systems. During early sleep, your brain processes emotional experiences from the day, filing away memories and resolving emotional conflicts. This processing happens primarily during REM sleep, which is more abundant in the later sleep cycles, but only if you've gone through proper deep sleep cycles first. Late sleep often means skipping or shortening these critical early deep sleep stages, which then affects the quality and quantity of later REM sleep. The result is poor emotional processing, leaving you more reactive, anxious, and emotionally unstable. For older adults, this is particularly important because emotional regulation naturally becomes more challenging with age. The prefrontal cortex, which helps control emotional responses, becomes less efficient. You need every advantage to maintain emotional equilibrium, and proper sleep timing provides that advantage naturally. There's also a social dimension. When you're emotionally stable and well-rested, your relationships improve. You have more patience with family. You enjoy social activities more. You handle conflicts better. But when sleep timing is off and your emotions are dysregulated, relationships suffer. You might withdraw socially or become difficult to be around, creating a cycle of isolation that further worsens mental health. What should you do? First, if you're experiencing increased anxiety, irritability, emotional fragility, or depression symptoms, examine your sleep timing before assuming you need medication. Sometimes the solution is as simple as sleeping earlier. Second, create a deeply relaxing bedtime routine that starts at least an hour before sleep. This helps transition your nervous system from sympathetic, fight or flight mode to parasympathetic, rest and digest mode. Third, avoid stimulating or emotionally charged content in the evening, difficult conversations, stressful news, intense movies or shows. These keep your cortisol elevated when it should be dropping. Fourth, if you wake during the night with racing thoughts or anxiety, this often indicates elevated cortisol from late sleep. Getting to bed earlier usually resolves this. And fifth, recognize that emotional well-being and sleep timing form a cycle. Early sleep improves emotional regulation, which makes it easier to maintain early sleep, which further improves emotional health. Now let me bring all of this together because the power of sleep timing comes from how these 6 systems interact. When your heart isn't getting proper repair time, that creates stress on every other system. When your brain can't clean out toxic proteins, That affects your emotional regulation and hormone balance. When your hormones are dysregulated, that weakens your immune system and disrupts your digestion. These aren't separate problems, they're interconnected consequences of a single root issue, sleeping at the wrong time. The remarkable thing is that this problem is entirely within your control. Unlike many health issues that require medications or medical procedures, optimizing sleep timing requires only behavioral change. It costs nothing, it has no side effects, and the benefits span every major body system. Think about the implications. How many medications are you taking that might become unnecessary if you consistently slept at the right time? How many doctor visits for recurring problems might be avoided? How much better would your daily life be with more energy, clearer thinking, better mood, and fewer health problems? The challenge, of course, is that changing sleep timing requires disrupting habits and lifestyle patterns that might be deeply ingrained. Maybe you've watched late-night television for decades. Maybe you've always been a night owl. Maybe your social life revolves around late evenings. These patterns feel normal because they're familiar, but normal doesn't mean healthy. Here's what I want you to do starting tonight. Commit to a 2-week experiment. For 14 consecutive nights, be in bed by 10:15, with lights out by 10:30. This means working backward. If bedtime is 10:15, dinner should be no later than 7. Screen time should end by 9. Your wind-down routine should start by 9:30. Create optimal conditions. Make your bedroom cool and completely dark. Eliminate all screens from the bedroom. If you use your phone as an alarm, get an actual alarm clock. Develop a consistent routine. Perhaps a warm bath or shower, some gentle stretching, reading a physical book by dim light. Do the same things in the same order every night. Your body will learn these signals mean sleep is coming. Track what happens. Keep a simple journal. Each morning, note what time you actually fell asleep, how many times you woke, what time you woke for the day, and how you feel using ratings of 1 to 10 for energy, mental clarity, mood, and physical well-being. After 2 weeks, look back at your notes. Most people see dramatic patterns. Days following early sleep show significantly better ratings across all measures. Share this information with your family and friends, not to lecture them, but to help them understand why you're making this change. They need to know that early bedtime isn't antisocial or boring. It's health-promoting in profound ways. Ask for their support. Maybe they'll join you in making similar changes. If you're on medications, especially for heart conditions, blood pressure, diabetes, or mental health, talk to your doctor about your sleep timing change. Some people find they need medication adjustments as their bodies heal and regulate more naturally through proper sleep. Give yourself permission to make this a priority. Our culture often treats sleep as expendable or views early bedtime as something only for children. This is backwards. Sleep timing is one of the most powerful health interventions available, and it becomes more critical, not less, as you age. Remember Margaret from earlier, whose health was declining despite doing everything else right? 6 months after shifting to early sleep, her blood pressure normalized, her cognitive clarity returned, her immune system strengthened. No new medications, no dramatic interventions, just sleeping at the right time. That same transformation is available to you. Your body wants to heal. It has sophisticated repair systems ready to work. Every night that you're asleep before 11, you're giving your heart, brain, hormones, immune system, digestion, and emotional well-being the time they need to restore and strengthen themselves. Over weeks and months, this accumulated benefit transforms your health in ways that no medication can replicate. If you found this information valuable, share it with others over 60 in your life. This knowledge about sleep timing could literally add years to someone's life and life to their years. The science is clear. When you sleep matters as much as how long you sleep, and for those over 60, it might matter even more. Your health is the foundation of everything else in your life. Your relationships, your independence, your ability to enjoy your remaining years. Protecting that foundation starts with something as simple as honoring your body's ancient rhythms and sleeping at the time nature designed you to sleep. Early to bed isn't just old wisdom, it's fundamental biology. Respect it, and your body will reward you with better health, clearer mind, calmer emotions, and more vibrant life. The choice is yours, and it starts tonight.